All right. So I'm here. I'm just waiting on some people to come in. I know there's some people that are live right now, but I'm just ready to get this shit over with. So if there's anybody in the chat now, just give me a one. If you guys can hear me, once I see at least one, I'm gonna go ahead and get started and get this over with because again, y'all like oh man, just waiting on some people to come in. See if anybody's gonna come in. But if not, in about okay. So we got Sexy Toy Lady in the house. All right. What's up, Sexy Toy Lady? All right, y'all. So I'm gonna go ahead and address this thing that's been going on. As a matter of fact, it was like a few minutes ago that I knew about this. So Slander God had a live, and at one point in time, I left the live because obviously I have a life, I mean, like I can't stay for that long. I got other stuff going on. So I left, pretty much was doing the things that I needed to do offline. I come back on YouTube and I noticed that Slander was still live. And I'm like, damn, he's still live. So I'm tuning in and I'm rewinding back and I'm noticing Breaking the Culture was on there with T Pre, Oz was on there, Photon, all these people was on here. So I'm rewinding back and and this damn boxing match keeps getting brought up, and my name keep getting brought up. So I'm here to address this, and I want to make this very clear. This is going to be the one and only time that I'm going to address this, because obviously the stuff we're breaking in eyes has gone way beyond just some weird, stupid, dumb boxing match at this point. It is went way beyond that here. So I'm not going to waste too much time on this. I'm just going to go ahead, just speak my speech, get this shit over with. And again, this is going to be the only time I'm going to address this. I may not even drop the link either because again, like that's how over I am with this boxing match stuff. Before I go any further, me and Mons will sub slander. All right, so now first off, I ain't got no beef with Eyes. I ain't got no beef with Breaking the Culture. I like them both. They never done anything personally to me. So this is not me not taking any sides. This is just me just speak my speech and get the shit over with. And hopefully for me, I don't got to address this no more. So let's go back to the very, very beginning on how this even came up. Back in, I want to say in late March of 2022, Oz did a live, and it was a very short live. And sadly, Oz usually privates her live, so it's not like we can't go back and actually see what she exactly said. But in that live, she had my name in the title, and she wanted to address me in the live. Now, I didn't see it live, but I saw the replay before she took it down, and I saw it, and it was basically her wanting to have some type of boxing match with someone that's not in the sector. Now, I want you guys to keep this in mind. She wanted to box somebody that was outside of the sector. Okay. And, she basically just pitched the idea to me. Again, it was on a live. And I believe on the same day, probably like an hour or two later, I made a community post basically saying that, yeah, Oz, like I really like your style. And in that community post, I said that if there's anybody that wants to fight Oz that's not in this sector, go ahead and let me know. And if someone is willing to recruit somebody that's outside of the sector to box Oz, I will go ahead and give you a $500 cash referral. So that's how all of this started here. And if you guys look back at the community post that I put down, and again, I don't delete my lives, I don't private my lives, I don't delete my community posts. So anything you guys are wondering what I'm talking about, just go ahead, just look back in the archives. So so in that first community post I put down was called Sector Fights. Now the whole idea of sector fights is just that, just have certain people from different types of sectors go ahead and box. Now, I also want to make this clear, y'all. When it comes to those type of boxing matches, it's not something to have beef over anything like that. It was just like what I said in that very first live that she did. It was all for fun, content and all that, and that's the exact same mentality that I had. And for me, I thought it would be something different. I thought it would be way better than the same old people arguing back and forth each and every night. The shit gets old after a while. If we're gonna keep it real, same talking points, same thing, yada yada yada. And that's no shade to anybody, but again, we pretty much got to keep it real with that. So I thought, hey, look, if we can get people to actually box and have actually an actual physical interaction with each other, an actual physical interaction with each other, you know, I pretty much think that that would be good to do. So, so I want to say it was probably maybe a week or two passed by. And again, I was putting it out there. Hey, look, if there's anyone that want to box eyes that's not in this sector, let me know. And if there's anybody that can refer somebody from another sector to box eyes, I'll go ahead and give you $500. So fast forward to one of the demon infused live streams that I did. And this live, like I said, y'all, I don't delete my lives. I don't private my lives. So if you guys want to look back at it, go ahead and look back. Go ahead and look back at it. Now, this live that I'm referring to, I believe was the live when Breaking the Culture and Let Me See Your Transcript was on my panel and they had that back and forth. So there's not many demon infused live streams that I have in the title. There's not many. So if you guys click on one of those lives, if you guys see Breaking the Culture and Let Me See Your Transcript on there, I believe that's the live that I'm referring to. So Breaking the Culture and Let Me See Your Transcript was on the live. And then at one point in time, I was about to wind down the live. Now, as I was about to wind down the live, Eyes comes up there. Now, again, I want y'all to keep this in mind. This was before anything else happened. This was before anything else happened. So Eyes came on there, and basically me and her was talking about the boxing thing. You know, she wanted to know, hey, you find anybody I can box? I was like, nah, I ain't getting no leads, yada yada yada. And there was a point in time where Eyes did put out a number. There was a point in time where Eyes did put out a number as far as how much she is willing to get paid to do it. Now, was it 5,000? From my memory, I'm not sure, because this live again was back in April of 2022. So this is a long time ago. So is it possible she said 5,000? Maybe. Could have been higher than that, maybe. Could have been lower than that, maybe. The only thing that I remember from her saying how much she would want, it was something outrageous. And the reason why I thought it was outrageous is because she's not a trained fighter. I mean, like, there's plenty of people who's not even trained or who's about to have their first match. And when they get their first match, they get paid peanuts for that. And it's not like Oz was a YouTube celebrity or celebrity at that. So as far as her saying that figure, I thought it was outrageous. And I will say, first and foremost, I will say that's one of the things that where I messed up at when she basically gave me that figure. For me, I think what I could have done was just stopped her right there. I was like, "Oh, whoa, 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 Eyes. I think that's a little bit too much for you because again, you're not trained and you're not a celebrity. So like we got to have a justification for why you need to get that number." So so for me, I will go ahead and say that I could have stopped her in her tracks right at that point in time when me and her was talking on the panel. Now, as me and her kept talking, I also was looking at the chat. All right. Now, I don't want to say the wrong name. I don't want to say the wrong name because if I do say the wrong name, then that person will get dragged into this. And it's like I said at the very beginning, guys. This whole thing with Eyes and Break the Culture is gone way beyond this whole boxing thing. We're now bringing kids and husbands and stuff into it. So I don't want to make it more ridiculous as it is. So I'm not going to name the person's name. However, though, like I said, the live is still up and you guys can look into the chat to see who may have said this. But as I was looking into the chat and we was discussing about the boxing thing with just me and Eyes on the panel, somebody put down Breaking the Culture of Silence as a suggestion. So It wasn't Oz that challenged breaking the culture. It wasn't breaking the culture that challenged Oz. It wasn't even me that suggested it off rip. It was someone in the chat. It was somebody in the chat that suggested breaking the culture of silence. Okay. Now, when I first saw that, I didn't pay it no mind. Because if you go back to the very beginning, Oz's idea was to have somebody to face her outside of the sector. So when I first saw breaking the culture of silence, like I wasn't really paying it no mind. Then I would say maybe like a minute or two after that, breaking the culture of silence put down something in the chat saying that she was trained. So a light bulb came up to me, and that's what made me ask Eyes if she was willing to box breaking the culture of silence. So that's how that came up about. So anyone that's saying that Eyes, was challenging breaking the culture or breaking the culture challenge Eyes, no, that was not what it was. Someone in the chat suggested breaking the culture. I ignored it at first because it was supposed to be someone outside the sector. And when breaking the culture of silence said that she was trained, that that was something that was kind of in me like, okay, let's see if we can do this. And the reason why I was suggesting that is because for one, I pretty much wanted to get this thing to start, this whole sector fights thing to start. Because I wasn't getting any referrals, I wasn't getting any leads, I wasn't getting anybody else to go ahead and do it. So breaking the culture of silence was willing to do it. I was like, okay, well, let's go ahead and let's just start. Let's just start. All right. So I suggested it to Oz. I said, yeah. Breaking the culture agreed. She said, yeah. They had a cordial discussion about it on my panel, and pretty much it was set. All that stuff was set, all on that one live stream that's still up. So you guys can look back at it. So as all this was going on, I pretty much made another community post. I did the graphic and all that. And I said, hey, look, Oz breaking the culture, yada, yada, yada. Now, also too, I want to talk about Carl Burton. In that same live stream, Carl Burton. Now, there's some of you that may know him, some of you may not know him, but Carl Burton was a guy that was in this sector. He was in the sector. He's been very involved in the sector. He's been involved in the chats. And if you guys are not familiar with him, he was also the same guy that was willing to host the Flacco Shaquem boxing match that was going to happen, but never did, in his own boxing gym. Now, Carl Burton says that he owns a gym in Chicago. So also, Carl Burton said this also in the chat on the same live stream. He said this in the same live stream in the chat. And again, you guys can go ahead and look back at it. Now, hopefully, Carl Burton didn't delete his channel so you guys couldn't see it. But he also said, hey, look, they can come to my gym. Eyes on Breaking the Culture can come box in my gym in Chicago. So I'm even more excited at this point because we don't have to go through all the hoops if we just go to just a random gym or whatever. So if we just don't go to a random gym or whatever. So I'm like, okay, cool. So pretty much at this point, I'm saying to myself, as far as the vision that I'm having here, I would fly out, Eyes and Breaking the Culture, to Chicago to Carl Burton's gym. I wasn't planning on having no audience. I wasn't planning on selling no tickets. My vision was I wanted Eyes and Breaking the Culture to be in the boxing ring in Chicago, no people there, and just have a small little camera crew. Have a small little camera crew. Either we would record it or we would live stream it. And then we go from there. I was thinking of this as just a simple grassroots type of thing. I wasn't trying to have no glitz and glamour or any of that other stuff because if you guys know anything about branding or wanting to start something, you have to start from somewhere. Now, if you have the resources to do it all big and glamoury, okay, cool. But in this sector, I mean, we are really, really small. We're really small. So we have to go through the grassroots type of thing, right? So that was the vision that I had. So moving right along. We start doing the emails. All right. Now, there was a question about why I didn't CC Breaking in Eyes. And it's simple as this, because Eyes and Breaking the Culture have different circumstances going on. Eyes for one is not trained. So anything I have to communicate to her, I have to communicate with her only. Same thing with Breaking the Culture of Silence. I have to communicate with her only. Now, if it comes to a point in time where their circumstances are more aligned, then yeah, I could have CC'd. But since they both have different type of circumstances going on, I have to talk to them individually. Individually. So, anyways, I told Breaking and I told Oz that I was willing to fly them out and pay for their hotel, which is really not a big deal to me because it wasn't like I was gonna fly them out for a whole week. It wasn't like I was gonna pay for their food. It wasn't like I was gonna pay for a rental car. I was only gonna pay for a flight that was gonna be for one fucking night, obviously for one night, and I was gonna have them stay in the hotel for a night. And boom, be gone. And the reason why I did that again, guys, is because if you're gonna start slow, if you're gonna start off something, you have to spend money to make money. You have to spend money to make money. I was not gonna be on some goofy shit trying to tell y'all to pay for a plane ticket and pay for a hotel. Nah, like I got it. I got it. I got it. So Breaking knew that, and Oz knew that. Now, I do know Oz knows that I told her this because not only did I tell her this in the email, but she also said this on a Photon live stream in April of 2022. Now, once again, much like with a lot of y'all here, Photon deletes his lives, privates his lives, so we can't go back and look at it. But I do remember Photon mentioned about the boxing match when it was first announced. That was going to be Eyes and Breaking the Culture. Photon mentioned about the boxing match. Eyes tapped in, and there's a point in time where Eyes did tell Photon that LV is willing to pay for the hotel and for the flight. Now, with all that being said, is it possible that maybe Eyes forgot that I told her that? Maybe, maybe it's possible. Maybe it's very possible she may have forgot because again, this was a long time ago. This was a long time ago. But yes, I did tell Breaking and Eyes in emails that I was willing to pay for their flight and pay for their hotel. Now, as far as the payment in general, what I was going to do, I was going to go ahead and do some type of fundraiser. And I was going to ask the sector around. Now, with Eyes not being trained, it would give us at least 6 months, maybe a year. So what I was going to do was I was going to go ahead and raise money from the sector. And if I need to go to people offline as well, I would have done that as well. And by the time the fight would have happened, whatever the difference is, I was going to go ahead and make it up. Because again, guys, you need to spend money to make money. You need to spend money to make money. And with the whole sector fights brand, if I at least sacrifice something at the very beginning, it would pay off in the very end. So it wouldn't have to be to a certain point where I have to beg for money and shit like that. No, like I'm gonna go ahead and sacrifice, spend money to make money. So, anyways, uh, so moving right along. Uh, at some point in time, communication was getting less and less and less. Now, from Breaking the Culture's perspective, here's why. And hopefully, I'm not being too personal when I say this, but if you guys remember, there was a point in time where Breaking the Culture wasn't on YouTube as much. I believe in May or June, around that time, May or June. And Breaking the Culture made a comment saying that someone was calling CPS or reporting her to CPS with her kids. So at that point in time, Breaking the Culture wasn't active on YouTube as much. And if you guys remember, during that same time, Breaking the Culture and T Pre made a live in which T Pre went absolutely ham on the person who may have called on Breaking the Culture as far as reporting her kids. And I remember when I emailed Breaking the Culture saying, "Hey, look, I haven't heard from you for a while." You know, she really didn't go into detail about what was going on at that time, but she was just saying she has a lot going on. So the communication kind of wavered in there. So I didn't want to get into the mix of what breaking the culture was doing at the time because again, y'all, it's a boxing match. It's a stupid boxing match. It's a stupid boxing match. What's the point of me trying to uh what's the word I'm looking for? Bother breaking the culture about a dumb boxing match and she got this shit going on personally in her personal life that's going on. What's the point of me doing that? Now in Oz case, I didn't really hear that much communication. And with Oz, I was really more so in line of, okay, is she out there training? Now she's out there training, hey, I'm just gonna sit back because we got about 6 months to a year. But that's how things kind of just faltered off. Next thing I know, breaking the culture and odds are getting into it about the boxing match and saying, oh, da, 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 da. So that's how that's how we got here. That's how we got here. That's it. So that's my story. Hopefully I explained everything. And again, y'all, I've only been here for 21 minutes and I made it clear to everybody this is my one and only time addressing this bullshit because the shit Oz and breaking the culture got going on now has gone way past this stupid ass boxing shit, and I'm not trying to come back to something silly where they got some personal shit going on. Now with Oz and breaking the culture, I don't have no issues with them. I like both of them. I'm not choosing any sides, but since my name kept getting brought up, I figured I'd come on here, address this. Shout out to the 42 people here. But without that being said, guys, this is my only time addressing this. This is my only time addressing this. I'm ready to move on with this. This is old news. This is old news to me. But anyways, y'all, I figured I come on here and address this. This is my only time addressing this. And I'll see y'all next Thursday for some real fun for the king and queen, the sector. See y'all then.